Hey everyone, it's your buddy back again with another exciting fanfic, which is What If Naruto Was Jiraiya's Apprentice from the Start, Part 1. If you enjoy this story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more fanfics like this. Now, let's dive right into the fanfic. If you ever touch my sensei again, I will kill you, Naruto yelled, anger coming welling inside him as he looked down at his injured surrogate brother Iruka. Ha, like you could, I'll kill you in one hit, Mizuki sneered. Fine, bring it on and I will return it over 1,000 times Kujibushin no Jutsu, and suddenly the forest was filled with over 1,000 shadow clones. Mizuki didn't have time to respond as he was attacked by a barrage of orange-clad wannabe ninja. Guess I overdid it, hey Iruka-sensei? Asked Naruto sheepishly. Iruka was stunned. Maybe he can surpass all of the Hokages. Little did he know those same thoughts were going through the minds of two observers. Naruto, close your eyes. Doing as he was told, Naruto waited as Iruka took off his forehead protector and placed it on his favorite student's head. Okay, you can open them now, Iruka said, voice full of pride. Naruto saw the new addition to his outfit and jumped for joy, shouting about how he did it, and how he would be Hokage in no time, with unbridled joy in his voice. I promise I will make you proud, Iruka-sensei, he said, barely containing tears of joy. You already have Naruto Hokage office. Well, the kid definitely has guts, and by the looks of it a shitload of untapped potential. What do you think, sensei? Asked a man with waist-length white hair and red marks on his eyes. Yes, he certainly does, Jiraiya, but with that much chakra it is no wonder poor Naruto couldn't do a standard clone. He simply has far too much to control, Sarutobi Hiruzen answered. Well, I was going to wait around a year or till his first Chunin exams before I took up training the Gaki. But I think it's about time I get to know my godson and take up his training, Jiraiya said proudly. Kakashi will not be happy. He was hoping to have the boy on his Genin squad, especially seeing as the council will probably try and force him to pass his team because of the Uchiha, Hiruzen responded. Don't worry, I'll take care of that anyway. This is the same council that refused to let me take the Gaki with me when I had to leave for my resh, spying, even though Minato and Kushina left me as his guardian. What do you think the council's orders are going to be? To Kakashi give all his students equal time or focus on the Uchiha, Jiraiya argued. Very well, I'm sure Naruto and Iruka are on the way here. Would you like to stay and talk to him now? The professor asked. Nah, I'm gonna go catch up on my research, and with that the Toad Sage was out through the window. I wish just once he would use the door, the aged Hokage sighed and went back to stare at his paperwork before breaking out into tears. Naruto walked into the academy still on a high after the events of last night. He had graduated in new AB rank jutsu. All in all, things were going well for our golden-haired hero. As he walked in, he noticed a couple of the students giving him questioning looks. Apparently they were not aware he had passed. Naruto, what are you doing here? This is for people who passed the exam, said Shikamaru. Look at the forehead, I did pass, Naruto responded. Troublesome, was the Nara's only response as he turned his head back and went back to sleep. However, his mind was working in overdrive. He definitely failed. That means something must have happened in the time since then. I wonder if it had anything to do with why all those Chunin were running around like headless chickens last night. Shikamaru thought. He was brought out of his internal musing by the arrival of Sasuke's two biggest fangirls. Ino and Sakura. Troublesome though it was, he just couldn't concentrate on the puzzle that was the Uzumaki while there was a banshee screeching right behind his ear. It said blonde Enigma for having the nerve to get between her and her Sasuke-kun. Thankfully for all students and definitely Akamaru, Iruka arrived and forced in the class to quieten. Okay class, you are now going to be given the teams you will work with until you make Chunin. First we have Team 1, Team 7 will be Sakura Hirano, Sasuke Uchiha, Iruka began but was cut off by a very loud class member. Yes, true love wins out. I'm destined to be with Sasuke-kun, Sakura yelled, causing the surrounding students and Iruka to wince at how loud she was. Okay, anyway, the final member of Team 7 will be Sai and your sensei will be Kakashi Hatake, Iruka said before moving on to Team 8. The rest are the same as canon. Hey Iruka-sensei, why didn't I get a team? Asked Naruto. You probably didn't even graduate, you probably stole that Hetai it from someone else. Naruto baka, screeched Sakura. That's enough. Sakura the Hokage personally passed Naruto last night after he passed a far harder exam than the one yesterday. Naruto, after this is over you are to go to the Hokage Tower to find out your team placement. That's all it says on my form. Okay, now the rest of you, your senseis will be here in 1 hour. Till then I suggest you get to know your new team. Iruka finished and left the new genin to their own devices. Naruto was a little pissed he had to wait till everyone already had their team before he was told to go to the Hokage Tower, but figured there was a reason, so decided to hurry to meet his new team. Hokage Tower. At the same time, Kakashi was confused and a little angry. He wanted to teach his sensei's son more than anything to try and make up for all the times he couldn't save him from a beating when he was in Anbu. Hokage-sama, may I ask whose team Naruto is going to be on? I was hoping I could teach the boy, Kakashi Hatake said, clearly upset. The Hokage went to answer, but before he could, he was cut off. Mine, said a voice from the window, and all the jonin in the room turned to see the legendary Toad Sage sitting casually in the window facing over the village. Master Jiraiya, why would you take on another apprentice in that thing? Of all children, why not take on one of the top students like the Uchiha? I mean, surely you know what that thing is, one random soon-to-be demoted jonin said. He is a child who has very little talent, but has the will to never give up, and strength to cope with almost anything despite failing. In short, he is like me. Why would I want to train a snobbish, arrogant gaki like that Uchiha who has had everything handed to him when I could train someone who actually needs it? Jiraiya answered with a hint of killing intent directed to the man insulting his godson. Hokage Tower. Naruto walked into the Hokage's office like he owned the place. Looking for any new faces, he only saw one, a tall man, and no sign of his new team anywhere. Hey Gigi, what gives? Where's my team already? Everyone else already has them except me, asked a confused Naruto. Ah yes Naruto, I'm here to tell you that this man here has requested you as his apprentice, Hiruzen responded. Oh okay, hi, I'm Naruto. What's your name? The blonde asked. I am glad you asked, kid. I'm the great Toad Charmer from Mount Myobokuzen, the legendary Master Jiraiya, completing his dance with a pose. Gigi, can I have a sensei who isn't a complete idiot? Naruto said with a deadpan expression. Hehe, now Naruto, Jiraiya here was one of my very own pupils and is a very famous ninja. You can learn a lot from him when he's not enjoying his other hobbies, the aged Hokage chuckled. So what are you going to teach me, Jiraiya sensei? Some cool new jutsu? Naruto asked excitedly. Hold on Gaki, gotta fix what's wrong before we can move on to learning new moves. Don't worry though, it shouldn't take that long, and I think a proper taijutsu style rather than that basic academy one will be on the cards. Then I promise I'll teach you a new jutsu, Jiraiya said with a smile at the eagerness of his godson. Well then we better get started then. I can't wait, soon I will show Sasuke Tem I'm not Adobe, Naruto yelled as he and Jiraiya left for a training ground. Training ground 2. Okay, so what are we going to learn? I know you said you wanted to fix my problems, but I don't know what they are. I mean, I know that my chakra control isn't good, but other than that I don't know. Nobody has ever helped me and I don't see what's wrong with my taijutsu style, Naruto said, looking to Jiraiya for some answers. Well, let's see. First I want you to fight 5 clones against yourself and see if you can win. That will show you the holes in your taijutsu style. I'll be teaching you strategy and a lot of chakra control exercises, and once you master tree and water walking I will teach you 2 jutsu. One of them will be a jutsu the 4th Hokage invented. Deal? Jiraiya said, knowing that Naruto would be interested in learning a jutsu from his hero. Sure, you bet. Just you watch, Jiraiya sensei. I will get this stuff down in no time. Kujibushin no jutsu. The 5 Naruto clones proceeded to hand one legendary ass kicking to the original before he eventually dispelled the final clone. Okay, you win sensei. I need help with taijutsu, but I have a question. When I was facing the clones after I dispelled them, I could remember winning the fight like I was one of the clones, Naruto said, confused. Oho, looks like you may not be such a dumb ass after all. You see, the shadow clone is a forbidden jutsu for several reasons. Mainly because it uses such a large amount of chakra, it is impractical and dangerous for most people to use. The second is because the person learns everything the clone does. You can be overcome by information overload, Jiraiya explained. So does that mean I can use them to help me train? Naruto asked. Yes, very good. Now this is dangerous, and I would go as far as saying that you would be the only person capable of using this style effectively because you heal faster thanks to the fox and your enormous chakra supplies, the toad sage answered. You know about the fox? The blonde knucklehead asked. Yes, I do, and in time I'm going to help you control it eventually so you can use it to make you stronger. But before that, we need to get you strong enough to be a good ninja without it. Now I want you to make 50 clones and get them to read these books while I show you the kata for my taijutsu style, Jiraiya said. Awesome, let's get to work, the blonde yelled as 50 clones popped into existence. It had been several weeks since Naruto had been training with Jiraiya, and the toad sage had been impressed with his improvement. He had got tree walking down and had almost mastered water walking. He had become proficient enough that he could now beat 10 clones at a time in taijutsu. Naruto had found a new hobby in seal making, and he couldn't understand why there weren't more seal masters in Konoha, with Jiraiya being the only one, something which the toad sage was all too willing to boast about as it was considered one of the more difficult ninja arts. Okay Gaki, looks like you got it down. Come to land and dispel your clones. I'm going to give you a gift, the white-haired toad charmer said, getting a jump for joy from his young charge. So what's the gift, sensei? Asked an enthusiastic Naruto. It's this. Summoning jutsu, the old toad sage said as a scroll appeared along with a small toad. Okay Naruto, I want you to come here and sign your name next to where it says Minato Namikaze, Jiraiya said, pointing the empty space on the scroll. Sure thing. Okay, now what? The blonde asked. Use these hand signs and then slam your hand down. Now for this you can't use shadow clones, it has to be all you because you could have half of the toads of Myoboku here by the end of the day if you do, Jiraiya explained. The training went slow and all he could summon was a rather friendly toad by the name of Gamakichi and his brother Gamatatsu, but he couldn't get anything bigger. What am I doing wrong, Jiraiya sensei? Jiraiya sensei, are you peeking on the women at the waterfall? You or aren't you? I didn't know you were nothing but a little pervert, Naruto said angrily. Hey, I'm not a little pervert, Jiraiya responded, I'm a super pervert. How is that better? The blonde asked with a sweat drop. Anyway, I think I know how you can master the jutsu. You have to be faced with a life and death situation. And if I'm correct, you will get in contact with the fox and start learning how to control his chakra at the same time, the toad sage said. Near a valley that is for some reason just outside of Konoha. Okay Gaki, it's do or die, good luck, he said as he tossed Naruto off the edge. Please forgive me Minato, he finished in an afterthought. Moments later, Naruto resurfaced on top of a angry Gamabunta and after a small conversation with his new summoner decided to test him to see if he is able to stay on his head for a day, which he was able to do, passing out just as he made it to sundown. For the next few weeks Naruto continued training till he could summon a Gamabunta-sized toad without needing Kyuubi's chakra, and had even gone on number of C-rank missions with teams 8 and 10 or just with Jiraiya. Most of them were basic, like deliver packages to another small village in Fire Country. So what are we going to work on today, Erosenin? Naruto asked. A tick mark appeared on said pervert's head. Gaki, how many times have I asked you not to call me that? I will stop calling you Erosenin when you stop peeking on women wherever we go, the blonde responded. Anyway, today I'm going to teach you a new jutsu, and this one is right up your alley. It was created by my greatest student, the 4th Hokage. And all you need is chakra and there are no hand signs. This is a 3-step process. First is rotation, the second is power, and finally you combine the two to produce this. Rasengan. A blue ball of chakra appeared in Jiraiya's hand as he finished his explanation. Awesome, what do I have to do? The energetic blonde was bouncing off the wall at the prospect of learning a jutsu created by his hero. Here you have to pop these water balloons, just like this, and he rotated the water inside the balloon till it popped. Putting a bucket of the balloons down, Naruto quickly made 100 clones and got to work. It took him several hours, but Naruto eventually figured out that the water had to be spun in all directions. Jiraiya then started Naruto on the second stage for him to work on for the next week while he went to check on his spy network and left Naruto with Team 9. The following week was what Naruto would call extreme, especially when he made a promise he would keep up in Guy and Lee's extended physical workouts. By the end of the week though, Naruto had completed the second stage of the Rasengan and had taken to wearing weights after he found out how much faster Lee was because of them. Naruto was now working on the third part of the Rasengan and felt he was very close. He could stop the balloon from blowing up for about 10 seconds at full rotation before it would destabilize. Naruto had figured he could complete it with a shadow clone but felt he didn't want to be forced to use one the jutsu. You're almost there, Gaki. You should have it by next week. I have to go again for a few weeks, so I want you to go get a team to do some missions with, preferably AC, Jiraiya said. Oh okay, I hope I get some C ranks. Those Ds are nothing but kids' chores. I mean, I know they're to strengthen team cooperation, but I mean we could have done them in the academy, Naruto said. Yeah I know, but that's the way sensei does it. Maybe when you're Hokage you can change things. So how are your studies on seals going? Are you ready to move up to the intermediate books yet? The white-haired man asked. Yeah, that would be great. I finished all the beginner's books last week, so I've had the extra clones working on the Goken Taijutsu style Guy Sensei taught me. It's good because while the Toad style is defensive, the Goken is offense, so I can change styles to what is needed for a battle, Naruto said. Excellent work, Gaki. You're starting to think like a ninja. I'm proud of you. Now keep working and remember to take all your balloons with you to whatever you have to do next week so you can get training in. That way you can show me what you have done when I get back, Jiraiya said. The pair continued training and sparring till the late in the afternoon when Naruto made his way home and Jiraiya went to the Hokage Tower. The next day at the Hokage Tower. Hey Gigi, I need another team for a few weeks. Erosenin has left again to perv on women or whatever else he does when he leaves the village, Naruto said loudly. Oh yes Naruto, Jiraiya told me you would need a team. Don't worry, I have a C rank mission for the next Genin team to come in for a mission, the old Hokage said kindly. It turned out the next team through the door was a very cut up looking Team 7 and Kakashi with a struggling Tora in Sasuke's arms. Okay Team 7, good job catching Tora. Now we have a mission to paint a fence. The Inuzukas want their dogs walked and kennels washed, or theirs. No, Tora come back. Catching Tora again, the Hokage said with a small face palm. No, the entire of Team 7 minus their sensei yelled. Well, we do have AC rank and your team is the last one to do one. Kakashi, do you think they're ready? Hiruzen sighed. Well, their teamwork could be better, but I would say they can handle AC rank no problem, the copy ninja replied. Very well, and you will have some help on this mission. Naruto Uzumaki, his sensei is out of the village and has requested Naruto aid another squad until he returns, the Hokage said. Why Naruto? That baka will only get in our way, I mean he screws everything up, Sakura yelled. Naruto, who had entered moments before, had his head down. Why do I like her again? I mean she is loud and in all honesty has never treated me like I meant anything. I think I just wanted someone popular and smart to like me. Well, not anymore, I'm so through with her, he thought. Anyway, despite what you think, Naruto here is a splendid ninja and will help this mission, I'm sure of it. Now will you send Tazuna-san in please, Hiruzen said loudly. In walked an old man with a straw hat and a large smell of sake. He wore slightly banged up clothes and looked a little worse for wear. What, these are the ninja who are supposed to protect me? They look more like school kids to me, the man said indignantly as he looked at the genin. Naruto, don't kill the client, it's bad for business, the Hokage chuckled. Okay Gigi, for you, Naruto said, putting his kunai away before going to stand next to Kakashi. So I say we meet at the West Gate in 1 hour, Kakashi said before he disappeared via a shunshin. 1 hour later, West Gate. Naruto was looking at a rather confusing sight. It seemed like Sakura was trying to dispel Kakashi as though he were a genjutsu. Naruto had learned about dispelling genjutsu from one of the scrolls his clones had read, and Kurenai-sensei had helped him be able to dispel and detect some basic genjutsu when he had some missions with Team 8. Where is that Naruto baka? I can't believe he would be late, just goes to show how useless he is. He's nothing like Sasuke-kun, Sakura said. What do you mean, Sakura? Naruto is in that tree over there. He's been there before I got here, although he is doing a good job hiding his presence, Kakashi said. The three stunned genin turned around to see Naruto lazily leaning against a tree branch. How did I not notice him? I mean, come on, he wears bright orange, seethed Sasuke. Well, shall we get going? This mission isn't going to complete itself, the blonde joyfully spoke. You're a weird one, aren't you, Gaki? Tazuna spoke. Maybe, but I'm starting to think a lot of great ninja have odd quirks. For example, Kakashi-san here obviously likes to read my sensei's perverted books in public. And there is this crazy snake lady that basically lives at training ground 44 who has a thing for blood, Naruto said, shivering at the memory. He and Jiraiya had gone to train in the Forest of Death, only for his sensei to leave him upon the arrival of one Anko Mitarashi. Anyway, we should go. Naruto, where is your stuff? The silver-haired ninja asked. Got it here, Kakashi-san, Naruto responded, pulling out a few scrolls from his small backpack. Kakashi nodded and the small group headed out towards Wave. Several hours later on the road to Wave. Naruto, Baka, what are you doing with those balloons? You're just trying to be the center of attention, you're never going to be as good as Sasuke, the Pinkett screeched. I'm doing an exercise my sensei left for me. And I'm almost finished it anyway, so why does it bother you? Naruto responded. Naruto is right, maybe if you did some exercises dickless over there will pay more attention to you, Sai said, causing Naruto and Kakashi to chuckle and Sakura and Sasuke to go red in anger. Kakashi was watching the blonde very closely. He had known immediately what the exercise was and knew how close the knucklehead was to completing his sensei's prized jutsu. Jiraiya-sama, how much has Naruto improved from the dead last in the class if he is this close to finishing the Rasengan only 3 months after graduation, Kakashi thought. Several hours later, Naruto noticed what looked like 2 relatively large puddles on the ground and then realization kicked in. Hang on, everything else is so dry, how could there be those puddles when it looks like it hasn't rained in weeks? Naruto looked to Kakashi, who glanced back and faintly nodded, indicating that this was indeed a genjutsu. The group walked past the puddles. But when Naruto and Kakashi felt a chakra spike, they immediately turned around to see what looked like 2 Kiri ninja with breathing devices on. They charged at Kakashi but missed the fact he used a Kawirami to substitute with a log. Naruto quickly jumped into action, producing 5 shadow clones and sent them to intercept the 2 ninja who were making a dash for Tazuna. Getting in the way, 2 clones successfully stalled the missing nins while a third pined the chain connecting them to the ground. They soon recovered though and disconnected from the chain, dispersing 3 of the clones. Naruto responded by kneeing the closest ninja and using clones to hold him down while Sasuke and Sai dealt with the other. After the confrontation, Kakashi walked out from the bushes, much to the shock of the genin of Team 7. Kakashi-sensei, I thought you died, Sakura screeched, causing all present to wince and Kakashi to point at the log wearing his jacket with red paint on it. Well, this is unexpected. Guado and Mezzo, the demon brothers, B-rank missing nin from Kirigakure. I didn't expect this. This mission is definitely not C rank anymore, it's more like a B borderline. At Tazuna, I think you have some explaining to do, Kakashi said sternly. I think it was Gato who hired them. You see, Wave has been bled dry by Gato, and he wants me dead so I can't finish my bridge and the country no longer has to rely on shipping to gain supplies, Tazuna said, laying on the guilt trip. Well, we were still given false information. If you couldn't afford a higher rank, you should have told the Hokage and organized another payment method. Now we have to decide whether or not to continue or go back to Konoha, Kakashi said. I say we go on. He needs help and has a honest goal to free a nation, and I can't abandon him, Naruto declared. If the Dobi is staying, then so am I can't have an incomplete on my first C rank mission, Sasuke said, which followed by statements of agreement from Sakura and Sai. Fine, we will continue, but once your country is back on its feet we will be expecting a full mission payment for the eventual rank of this mission. Got it, Kakashi finished. Yes, that won't be a problem at all, that you all so much, Tazuna said, happy to still have protection of the small group of Leaf Ninja. 2 days later. So Tazuna-san, how much longer until we reach your house? Kakashi asked, curious how long it could be till he could read his little orange book again. Not long, should only be about another hour at this speed, the bridge builder replied. Half an hour later and Kakashi was on edge. The fog they were in didn't seem natural and was getting thicker. It wasn't long before Naruto flung a kunai into a nearby bush, but all it ended up being was a bunny. Strange, that rabbit had white fur, which is rare around these parts, especially in summer. My guess would be that it was raised indoors. The musings of Kakashi were soon drowned out by the sound of metal moving towards the group at a fast speed. Get down, Kakashi yelled. Naruto grabbed Tazuna and tackled the old man to the ground as a large cleaver flew just overhead. Well, what do we have here? A little genin team, a figure said as he came into view. He could be seen as a bit taller than Kakashi with a similar face mask and no eyebrows. Zabuza Momoichi, the demon of the bloody mist, wanted for the assassination of the water dynamo and attempted assassination of the Mizukage, Kakashi recited in a calm yet serious tone. Oh my, it's Kakashi the copy ninja rumored to have copied over 1000 jutsu. It will be a pleasure killing you, Zabuza said in a cocky voice. Okay guys, you stay and guard the bridge builder. I will handle Zabuza, Kakashi said as he raised his hetai to reveal his covered eye. So I get to see the Sharingan this early. I'm honored. Kiryogakure no Jutsu. The mist grew so thick that nobody could see through it. Even Kakashi, although he could still predict attacks with his Sharingan, had no way of seeing the man. 8 vital spots: heart, jugular, kidneys, liver, subclavian artery, spine, larynx, lungs. Now which will be my attack point? Zabuza taunted from the mist. Sasuke was shaking from the killer intent, unable to move as he sat there under the massive killer intent. Slowly he was bringing a kunai up to his neck to end it, but was cut off by Kakashi. Don't threat Sasuke, you will be alright, I will protect you, Kakashi said in order to prevent the untimely death of his student. Oh, I don't think so, said Zabuza as he appeared behind Tazuna and brought his cleaver down towards the bridge builder, but before he could, Kakashi intercepted and deflected the swing with a kunai. Kakashi kicked Zabuza back into the mist where he couldn't be seen before running off after him. Appearing behind the demon of the mist, he held a kunai to his larynx and slit his neck, but noticed he turned into water. Mizabushin the copy ninja thought as he was struck with the cleaver, ripping him in half before dissolving into water. Well, I'm impressed, Kakashi. Even in the mist you were able to copy my moves, but that's all it is, a copy. It has nothing on the original, Zabuza boasted. Planning his next attack, he kicked Kakashi out of the fog and onto the water. As Kakashi got up, he couldn't see Zabuza anywhere. Where is he? But before he could finish his thought, he felt a chakra spike and found himself trapped in a orb of water. Forget about me. Take the bridge builder and run. He has to use contact to keep me here and it's draining his chakra, Kakashi ordered his team. Team 7 looked ready to comply, but Naruto refused to budge. Are you kidding? If I just abandoned a comrade, I would never be able to look at Erosenin in the eye again. You just watch, Kakashi-san, I'll kick this guy's ass then get you out of there, the blonde yelled. Seeing Naruto's resolve and not wanting to be outdone, Sasuke came and stood next to Naruto as Zabuza created several Mizabushin to deal with what he considered a pest. Naruto reacted quickly, creating 20 shadow clones and sent them to engage the Zabuza clones. The members of Team 7 were stunned. Naruto, the class Dobi, had just made 20 clones, and not only that, these were not some illusion but full-body solid clones. How is he able to do that, and why haven't I been taught that jutsu? If anybody deserves a jutsu like that, it's me, Sasuke seethed. Zabuza's clones were quickly dispatching the shadow clones with relative ease, so Naruto decided he best stay back. I need to think of something if I can distract the clones enough so that I can sneak by and attack the real Zabuza so we can free Kakashi-san. I know, Sasuke, I need you to throw as many kunai and shuriken at them as you can. I have a plan. Naruto finished by creating 20 more clones. Hey, clones again. Can't you children see you're out of your league? Zabuza smirked as Naruto's clones bent down to push off in a sprint while Sai and Sasuke began attacking at a distance with kunai. As the clones engaged, suddenly 10 more Naruto clones appeared around the original Zabuza and attacked him from all angles, forcing him to jump. What the how did that kid get past my clones, he thought before coming to the realization that he had just released Kakashi from his watery prison. Yes. It worked. I had some clones henge into rocks on the floor while my others picked them up, and when they engaged the Mizabushins, quickly throw them towards the real Zabuza, Naruto explained to the mystified Team 7 and Zabuza. Very clever, Naruto. But now I have to finish this, thought Kakashi. I got distracted and forced to let go of the water prison, Zabuza said, not wanting to think he was outsmarted by a fresh genin. Don't flatter yourself, you were forced to let go, Kakashi said as he waited for Zabuza to start the first move. Zabuza jumped away from Kakashi and started running through hand signs at the same time as Kakashi. In the end, both finished at the same time, ending shouting, "Water style! Water dragon jutsu! I am far too lazy to write the real names and their English translation. I will still keep the main ones like Chidori, Reikiri, and Rasengan. Don't like Itsumi. Identical streams of water clash. How did that happen? The Sharingan allows the user to copy and recreate what the other is doing, but they defiantly finished at the same time. How? Thought Zabuza as the jutsu ended. Zabuza jumped back and started to run though hand signs, but failed to notice that Kakashi was once again performing the same jutsu, only this time faster. Water-style giant vortex jutsu, Kakashi finished and a large spinning wave of water hit Zabuza, throwing him into a tree. How are you doing that? Can you see the future? Yes, and in your future, I see death, Kakashi finished for Zabuza. But before he could deliver the killing blow, Senbon needles shot out from a nearby tree and impaled into Zabuza's neck, apparently killing him. Thank you for weakening my target. I have been chasing him for a long time, the masked hunter Nin said in an even tone. Allow me to take the body. Farewell, Leaf Ninja, the masked hunter said as he picked up the body and left with a shunshin. Well, anyway, are we almost at your house, Tazuna-san? Kakashi questioned. Tazuna was about to answer when Kakashi collapsed from exhaustion and overusing the Sharingan. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura cried out in worry for her fallen leader. Naruto, Sai and Sasuke checked him, making sure he was alright. Pulling his headband back over his eye, Naruto created a couple of clones that picked him up, and they headed for the bridge builder's house. On arriving at the house, they were greeted by Tazuna's daughter Tsunami, and given rooms to rest in. The following day, Kakashi came downstairs on crutches. Looking around, saw his genin and Naruto eating breakfast. Kakashi was about to speak up when Naruto voiced his very own concerns. Kakashi-san, I believe that Zabuza is alive. The meeting. So you came to that conclusion as well, Naruto? Yes, I believe he is alive. That hunter Nin seemed off and didn't follow procedure, Kakashi explained to the room. Yeah, I read in a book Erosenin gave me that hunter Nin are supposed to cut off the head and burn the body of their targets, so why would he take the body with him unless the hunter ninja was working with Zabuza? Naruto continued. Don't you two think you're overthinking things? I mean, you checked him yourself, Kakashi-sensei, Sakura said, almost pleading herself to be right. Yes, but think about what weapon the hunter used, Senbon needles. It is possible to put a person in a near-death state by hitting the pressure points in such a way that it shuts down all noticeable signs of life. No, I think Zabuza will be back in about a week, which means we have to train. Kakashi finished with a look of seriousness on his face to indicate he was deadly serious. But sensei, forgive me, but it seems highly unlikely that we have any hope against someone like Zabuza, and a week's worth of training is not going to change that, Sai said, hoping his sensei would see the logic and not have to fight the legendary swordsman. Yes, but you won't be fighting Zabuza, I will. You will be fighting the fake hunter Nin, Kakashi explained. Forest clearing 1 hour later. Okay, today we are going to learn to climb trees, the silver-haired ninja said in a bored tone. Kakashi-sensei, we already know how to climb trees, Sakura said, confused why their sensei would think they were that useless. I mean, climb trees without your hands, the Cyclops said, not taking his eye off his Ika. He means like this, said Naruto as he walked over to the tree and casually walked up the side. Well, it seems that you already know this exercise. Very good, Naruto, that means you will come with me and help me guard the bridge builder, Kakashi said. Maybe I can use this chance to teach him something, seeing as Jiraiya-sama took him as a pupil and I didn't get the chance. Can I bring some of my balloons to work on my exercise for Erosenin then? Naruto asked. Sure thing, now the rest of you. He took out 3 kunai and threw them on the ground at their feet. Use those to mark your progress up the tree. I will leave a clone here to watch your progress. Kakashi made a shadow clone and left the clearing, quickly followed by Naruto. It can't be hard to do at all if Dobi can do it, Sasuke sneered. Yeah, I mean, he was just trying to show off. I bet you get this first go, Sasuke-kun, Sakura said, fawning over her crush and obsession. It seems Dickless is trying to hide the fact that he is angry that someone can do something he can't by hiding behind his arrogance, Sai said in a matter-of-fact tone. Shut up, Sai Baka, what would you know? Sasuke-kun will have this down in no time, just wait and see, screeched the Banshee, causing all others in the clearing to wince. Bridge. 30 minutes later. Naruto was sitting against the side of the bridge, still trying to prevent his balloons from exploding on him and producing another from a ceiling scroll after every failed attempt. Kakashi, on the other hand, was watching the blonde with great interest. He's so close to completing it, Yet the file I have on him says he was the dead last and had poor ninjutsu skills, unable to create a standard clone. Well, I guess it's no wonder he can't use the standard Bushin no Jutsu. It requires so little chakra, it must have been like trying to fill a thimble with a garden hose and not spill a drop, he thought, watching the boy get frustrated after holding the balloon for 15 seconds only to lose concentration and have it pop. Naruto, take a break from that for a while. I have something I want to teach you, Kakashi said. Sure, think, what do you want to teach me, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto asked eagerly, didn't call him that before because he hadn't taught or offered to teach him anything. Well, I was going to teach you a jutsu from your element, or are you aware of what your primary element style is yet? Kakashi asked, while pleased the boy was so eager to learn. No, I haven't done elemental work yet. For the first 2 months with Jiraiya-sensei, all we worked on was fixing holes in my knowledge. Tactics, a new taijutsu style, introduced me to fuinjutsu, which I really like, and chakra control. Then last month he let me sign the toad summoning contract after I mastered water walking. And now I'm working on a new jutsu, Naruto finished with a smile after listing his accomplishments. So you're working on the Rasengan, huh? The copy ninja said as a statement, not a question. How do you know I'm working on the Rasengan? The blonde asked. I was the 4th Hokage student. Did you really think I wouldn't notice the final stage of the training to complete it? Well, anyway, you have come a long way. That is really impressive to learn all that in just the 3 months since the academy, Kakashi said, obviously proud of his sensei's son. Well, it's not really. I have a way to get a lot of training done as a short period of time with shadow clones, Naruto said with a smirk. Naruto, that's ingenious, and I bet you are the only person that would work for because of your immense chakra capacity, but why are you not using them to help you in completing the Rasengan? Kakashi asked, confused as to why he would not be using them to complete such a powerful technique. Well, because it took Erosen a year to learn it without clones. I want to show him that I can do it in less than that because I want to make him proud of me, Naruto said. I guess that's understandable. Well, anyway, I want you to take one of these pieces of paper and channel your chakra into it. They come from a specific type of tree that channels your chakra into its natural transformation. That's not to say you can't use the other natures. Take me for example, I'm primarily a lightning type, but I can still use earth-style jutsus, but they require more chakra and won't be as powerful. Naruto nodded, indicating that he understood everything so far. Okay, so when I channel my chakra into the paper, what happens? The young blonde asked, eager to learn more. Well, if you're a Kaden type, it burns Raiden, it will crumple Fuden, it will cut Sweeten, it will become damp, and Doden, the paper will turn to dust, Kakashi explained. Naruto took the piece of paper and started channeling his chakra into it. A couple of seconds later, the paper split, indicating Fuden and a wind affinity. Well, it seems you have a wind affinity. That is rare and a difficult element to control, but also one of the most powerful, and also predominantly for offensive. I only know of one wind user in Konoha, and that's Asuma Sarutobi, the sensei for Team 10, Kakashi said. Naruto looked a bit down-heated at this, thinking Kakashi and Jiraiya may not be able to help him with it as well as if he had one of their elements. So what do I need to do to be able to use my element? Naruto asked, hopeful that he could still be of help. Well, to have complete control over the element often takes years and is not usually trained until a Chunin is looking to become a Jonin, as it is an requirement to have 2 elemental affinities, and to have a second you need to complete the manipulation training for the first, Kakashi said as he saw the slightly downbeat look on the young blonde's face. But luckily you don't need to complete the training just to use jutsu from that area, so I'm going to teach you a long-range D-rank jutsu you can use with a kunai to make it attack at a faster rate. Also, once you have completed the manipulation training, this shouldn't require hand seals, Kakashi explained. Kakashi showed the young blonde a set of 3 and seals and shot what looked like a strong gust of wind out of his palm, saying Fuden, Gale Palm Jutsu. Naruto created 100 clones and got to work on his new Fuden Jutsu while he continued work on the Rasengan and physical training, deciding to up his weights from 20 pounds on each arm and leg to 50. At the end of the day he was exhausted, but had successfully learned the Gale Palm Jutsu and had started experimenting with how he could use it to enhance his kunai and shuriken speeds, so he was rather proud of himself. That night at Chizuna's house, the group sat down to eat dinner as a young boy came in, shot a disgusted look at the group of ninja before declaring how they were all stupid to face Gato and were just going to die, which Naruto angrily refused was the case. What would you know about pain? I bet you have all lived sheltered lives in that ninja village of yours. You don't know what suffering is, the young boy yelled after Naruto had denied what they were doing was futile. So what, things are bad, but you know what, I have had it much worse. You still have a mother who loves you and a grandfather, a house to keep you warm and food every night. You don't know what it's like to be hated in your own village for something that is out of your control. You don't know what it's like to be beaten and kicked out of shops and forced to go through the garbage for food. You think your life is bad, fine, but don't just sit around and moan about it, do something about it, fight back, don't be a coward. Kakashi-sensei, I'm going out to train, and with that Naruto stormed out the front door with tears in his eyes. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto's life couldn't have been that bad, right? He has to be lying to get attention, Sakura asked. No, Sakura, everything he said was true. Naruto was kicked out of the orphanage at age 4 and lived on the streets for 6 months before some Anbu found him and took him to the Hokage. The Hokage gave Naruto an apartment, but he has had to learn everything for himself, and was constantly being beaten and kicked out of stores. And that is the watered-down version, Kakashi said, shocking the small group in the room. Forest clearing. The following morning, Naruto awoke in a field in the clearing of the forest when he heard a noise behind him. Quickly reacting, he jumped up into the toad stance but relaxed upon seeing what was apparently a teenage girl picking flowers and herbs. Hello there. What are you doing out in the woods this early in the morning? Naruto asked. Oh hi, the girl said, shocked to see one of the ninja who had been with the bridge builder when they attempted to assassinate him. My friend is sick, so I'm out here picking herbs for a medicine. Tell me, are you a ninja? Is that why you are out here? The girl asked. Yeah, I am. We were given a C rank mission to defend this bridge builder. But it turned out this guy named Gato has hired missing ninja to kill the poor man, so our mission turned into an A rank. Well, life is funny that way, I guess. Naruto paused as if in thought before continuing, but I will train harder to protect Tazuna and help this village and to become strong enough to protect everyone I care about. Naruto finished the statement like it was a declaration. That's good. I believe true strength comes from protecting those things that were precious to you. It helps you push beyond what your limits to make sure they are safe, the girl said in an approving tone. Wow, you're really smart. My name's Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto, what's your name, miss? The blonde asked, hoping to make a new friend. Oh, my name is Haku and I'm a boy, Haku said, slightly annoyed to be confused with a girl. Okami, and I thought he was kinda good looking. Fuck me, I've become Sasuke Tem minus the whole brooding and ego complex thing. I think I'm gonna be sick, Naruto thought whilst trying to hold back a gag. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, anyway, I better get back to the team I am with. They will probably be wondering where I am. I have been out for a while. It was nice meeting you, Haku. I hope we meet again someday, the blonde said, getting over his temporary mental breakdown. Yes, it would be nice to meet again in more peaceful times. Goodbye, Naruto Uzumaki, Haku said as he left the clearing. I really hope I don't have to fight him. He does not deserve to die. Why did you have to take this job, Zabuza-sama? The Battle of the Bridge. The rest of the week passed without incident for Naruto and Team 7. Kakashi had made sure Sasuke and Sai could make it all the way to the top of a tree before judging them ready. Whilst Sakura had to be able to stay stuck to the tree for an hour without being exhausted from lack of chakra. Naruto, on the other hand, had been working on his taijutsu and his Fuden, Gale Palm with his clones, while he was still trying to complete the Rasengan, and he often came into the house late and exhausted. Which was why on the day Kakashi expected the attack to happen, he allowed Naruto to stay in bed for extra rest and join up later. Hey, let my mom go, a voice came from downstairs as Naruto stirred. Upon hearing the call, he immediately jumped into action, jumping out the window. Using the roof, he quietly moved around to the front of the house to observe and plan the safest way to help the now tied up Tsunami and Inari. Quickly deciding on the safest course of action, Naruto made 3 clones and moved them to hide either side of the door, while the third would act as a distraction. Hey, let them go now, Naruto's clone demanded, rushing into the house and landing a punch on the nearest of the 2 thugs. Fuck off, kid. Hey, the boss only really needs the boy and his mother. You watch them while I deal with this kid. The clone suddenly backtracked, acting scared, while the thug walked towards him with a smirk on his face. Haha, look how scared the little shit is. Just hurry up so we can get back to Gato and get paid, the other laughed, enjoying the look of fear on the young blonde's face. Unfortunately, he didn't notice that same blonde sneak in through the window behind him. As soon as the first bandit excited the door, the trap was unleashed. The clones on either side delivered kicks to his ribs whilst the third placed a punch to the stunned goon's face, easily knocking him out. The other thug was shocked and went to help his partner, but as soon as he moved was knocked out by an attack by the original Naruto. After tying them up and releasing Inari and his mother, he decided to wake them up so he could question them over Gato's plans. Slapping the goon who stayed to guard the mother and son, he waited as he began to wake. Where am I?" he asked, confused. "Well, you are where you were when you attacked an innocent family," the blonde smirked. "Hey, fuck you, you little shit, just wait till Gato gets here. You don't stand a chance, the bridge builder is already dead, Zabuza will have seen to that," the tied-up goon responded, confident he would be right. "Oh no, the bridge, Team 7, I gotta get there fast, I have already wasted far too long here," Naruto thought as he ran out of the house, removing his weights for extra movement and speed. The bridge 30 minutes earlier. "What happened here? Where is everyone?" Tazuna said, fear clearly showing on his face as the fog crept in. "This isn't normal fog, that only means Zabuza is here. Well, looks like I guessed the day right. Well, back for round 2. Hey Zabuza," Kakashi asked in a casual tone. "Hey, it's going to be different this time, Kakashi," Zabuza sneered with confidence as he walked out of the mist with the hunter ninja from before. "I see you brought some help this time," Kakashi said, almost bored. "He is far more than just help, he has taken out Jonin." "Oh look, your little genin are shaking already," the demon of the mist finished with a chuckle. "I'm not shaking because I am scared, I'm shaking because I am excited," Sasuke said in confidence. He could easily match the hunter. Sasuke rushed forward and the hunter replied in kind. The two seemed equally matched for speed and skill. "You're quite talented, unfortunately I have you at a disadvantage. You see, we are surrounded by water, which means I can do this," the hunter finished and ran through some hand seals. When he finished, a torrent of water rose from the side of the bridge and cascaded down, knocking Sasuke over to the other side. Sasuke quickly got back to his feet and rushed back towards the hunter, only to find himself blocked by what looked like a large sheet of ice. "I'm sorry, but I can't allow you to get in the way of Zabuza-sama." Demonic ice mirrors. A large dome comprising of sheets of ice formed around Sasuke, and the hunter stepped straight into one of them like it was nothing, much to the shock of said Emo and the other occupants of the bridge minus Zabuza. "Well, I'm sorry to say your students finished, Kakashi. Haku has never lost a fight using that technique," Zabuza said matter-of-factly. "Go help Sasuke while I take care of Zabuza," said Kakashi as he lifted his Hetai, revealing his Sharingan, and launched himself kunai in hand at Zabuza, who blocked it with the blade of his mammoth cleaver. Inside the ice dome. Sai arrived inside the dome, but he immediately decided that it was a very bad idea. The hunter was able to move around so fast he couldn't keep track and was slowly being turned into a porcupine from Senbon needles, and his ink creatures had no effect on the ice and were quickly dispatched by the skillful hunter. "That's it, Kaden. Great fireball jutsu," came the enraged cry of Sasuke as a large fireball spewed forth from his mouth and rushed at the ice sheets, but much to his horror found the ice still intact. "What? How is that possible? Fire should melt ice," Sasuke asked, demanding an answer. "Normally you would be right, but this ice is special. As long as I have chakra, the ice will remain intact," the hunter said with no emotion in his voice as he sent another hail of Senbon into the two boys. This continued for a while and the boys of Team 7 were not in good shape. "Is he slowing down? I'm starting to be able to see his movements," Sasuke thought, observing how the hunter would jump from one ice sheet to another far faster than normal movement. Suddenly Sasuke felt a surge of chakra to his eyes and the world became far clearer to him. He had just activated the Sharingan with 2 Tomo in his right eye and 1 in the left. The Sharingan Sahi too has a Kekkei Genkai. "Oh well, it doesn't matter. I need to put them away to help Zabuza-sama," thought the hunter from the mirrors. Sasuke was doing a lot better, but the strain of his new Sharingan was becoming too much to bear, and Sai was out on his feet as another barrage of needles finally hit their mark and both boys fell to the ground just as a certain blonde arrived at the fight. "No. Sasuke. Sai, please be okay," Naruto shouted as he saw his comrades fall before him. "Was this the first time you have lost a friend in battle? They died honorable deaths," the hunter informed the blonde with an emotionless tone. "Shut up," Naruto cried as his rage and sorrow rose and a mist of red chakra erupted from the blonde, I'm gonna kill you. What amazing power, but it feels so cold, like evil itself. What is this boy? The ice-wielding ninja thought as he noticed the hands of the boy the chakra was coming from became claw-like, his whisker marks thickened and his hair became wild like an animal and suddenly the boy charged. With Kakashi and Zabuza. That chakra it can't be. Did the seal break? No, but maybe it has weakened. I have to end this now. Hey Zabuza, as much as I would like to stay and play with you all day, I think it's time I finish this, said the Kakashi as he took out a scroll and smeared some blood on it. That power? What is that power? This could be trouble. Really Kakashi. And how do you plan to do that? You're injured and bleeding while I am fine. You can't see or hear me. How do you plan on doing that? Zabuza said with a smirk, confident he couldn't be found let alone defeated that easily. Like this summoning jutsu. Dog Hunter Pack, as he finished dogs of all sizes appeared around Zabuza biting and holding him in place as Kakashi walked into view. You see, I allowed you to cut me during the fight so I could use the smell of my blood to track you. And if I could do it, it was even easier for my ninja hounds too. Now I am going to finish you, but not with a copied move. Oh no. I'm going to finish you with a jutsu of my own creation. Now get ready. As Kakashi finished, he started going through hand signs. Meanwhile, in Ice Dome, an enraged Naruto charged forward on all fours like a rabid animal. The hunter was shocked when the Senbon needles just bounced off his body and was barely able to jump to another ice sheet as Naruto shattered the previous one with a single punch. Impossible, no one had ever been able to break my ice before. I have to stop him. But the ice user was forced to jump to another mirror again, but this time he was not so lucky as Naruto had grabbed his arm with amazing speed he couldn't match even with his ice technique and punched him straight through the closest ice sheet, shattering his mask. I'm sorry, master. I am absolutely no match for this boy. I guess I am nothing but a broken tool, he thought as he saw the blonde charge. He closed his eyes waiting for the final blow. But it didn't come. He opened his eyes to see the red slits slowly fade back into cerulean blue. Pain and confusion etched on the young blonde's face. Naruto had stopped his fist just short of Haku's face, shocked to see that the boy he had met and befriended in the forest during the week was his enemy, and what's more defiantly, was not a bad person. Why? Naruto asked, struggling to hold back the tears of hurt and betrayal he felt at seeing the boy again. Why? How can you work for someone like Zabuza who would kill and damn an entire country just for money? Why? He finished with a scream as he collapsed on his hands and knees. Zabuza gave me purpose. I was an orphan when he found me. He trained me to be his tool, and now I have failed him. I am broken and no more use to my master. Please kill me, Haku stated with no sign of emotion on his face. Suddenly there was a chakra spike from behind and the sound of chirping birds could be heard. Then the mist cleared to reveal Zabuza was being held in place by ninja dogs, and Kakashi was standing there with lightning dancing around his hand as he prepared to end the demon of the mist's life. I'm sorry, there is one last way I have to serve Zabuza-sama, and Haku took off before Naruto was able to respond. With Kakashi, the copy ninja lunged forward and felt his hand enter flesh and a heart explode. However, it was not the heart of his intended victim. His arm was in that of the ice user who had jumped in the way of Kakashi. Well, looks like my tool served its purpose, said Zabuza as he was finally able to break free of the dogs holding him. What is that all he was to you, a tool to be thrown away when no longer useful? He loved you like a father, I could see in his eyes. He didn't like killing, but he did it for you, and that's all you have to say about him, Naruto yelled, arriving on the scene just as Haku had fallen. Zabuza had tears in his eyes. Damn it, kid, look what you have done to me. Haku was like my son, but I hid it behind my cold killer mask, Zabuza responded. Just then the sound of clapping was heard from the far edge of the bridge, and there stood Gato with what looked like around 100 hired goons. Well, it looks like you saved me a job, Leaf Ninja. Did you really think I was going to pay you, Zabuza? Ninja are far too expensive and you couldn't even kill one bridge builder. Oh well, Gato laughed at the situation the missing Kiri ninja was in. Well, Kakashi, looks like we are not enemies anymore. Can I borrow a kunai so I can at least kill Gato? It's the least I can do for Haku, Zabuza said, and Kakashi handed him a kwani which he placed his mouth and got ready to attack. Wait, we can help you, don't have to attack them on your own, Naruto said, taking out a kunai and wrapping a explosive tag around the handle. Zabuza just shook his head as if to say he wanted to do this himself and charged. He cut the bandits down like a knife through butter. Even though he was taking some serious injuries, he refused to go down till he made it to his target. Gato had fled to the back of a group of bandits but soon found himself face to face with a bleeding Zabuza who beheaded the businessman despite his pleading to be spared. Zabuza was able to arrive back at Haku's body before collapsing. I wonder if I will be able to see you in the afterlife. No, I don't think I will get that honor. Haku, you were always far too kind for this line of work. I will miss you. These were the final thoughts of Zabuza as he passed into unconsciousness and then from this world. That guy took our meal ticket. I say we take what we need from the town, one bandit said, but as they were about to move, an arrow landed in front of them fired by Inari, who had rallied the whole town to come out and stand against Gato and his men. If you want to attack this town, you're going to have to go through us. I'm not going to run and hide anymore. I'm going to fight just like Naruto Nisan, declared Inari. The bandits and thugs that still wanted to attempt to ransack the town were soon forced back when Naruto created 50 clones and tossed one of this exploding tag seals on a kunai just in front of the bandits, blowing a small section of the bridge away, much to the horror of a certain bridge builder. A week later the bridge was finished and it was time for the ninja from Konoha to return home after a teary goodbye and a promise to come visit from Naruto to Inari. They were off on their way. So what should we call the bridge? I was thinking the super awesome Tazuna Bridge, said builder pronounced, which was quickly shot down by the surrounding townsfolk. Hey, why don't we name it after Naruto Nisan, said Inari, getting cheers from the crowd. Okay, then it's decided. It shall be called the Great Naruto Bridge, Tazuna said with roars of the approving villagers. One day later, Hokage's office. Team 7 and Naruto Uzumaki reporting back. Form C turned a rank mission, Kakashi stated proudly. What? Shouted Iruka. Well, you see, we were on the way to Wave when we ran into a few snags. I take it you collected the Demon Brothers, Hokage-sama, Kakashi said, and the Hokage nodded as Kakashi continued to give the report. Later at Ichiraku Ramen. Keep 'em coming, old man, Naruto said to Tsuki as Ayame handed him another bowl. Hey Gaki, I heard you got more than you bargained for on your mission, came a voice from behind the blonde. Naruto turned around to find Jiraiya entering the store and sitting next to him. Ero-senin, you're back. Yeah, you can say that again. And Naruto went on to tell the story of his first rank mission. Ero-senin, I used the fox's chakra, but I didn't mean to, and it was different from when I summoned Boss Toad. It felt like I almost wasn't in control. I mean I was, but it was like I wasn't myself, Naruto said. I see. Well, I think that when you are in an emotional state of painful emotions like anger or sorrow, you subconsciously draw out the fox's chakra, which feeds on negative emotions. The reason it was harder to control than when you summoned Gamabunta is because of the situation and amount of the chakra you used, explained Jiraiya. Okay, so I have to find out how much of its chakra I can control and learn to keep my emotions in check to be able to use the fox effectively, Naruto surmised. Yeah, that's about it. Come on, let's finish up here and get back to training. If you impress me, I will sign you up for the Chunin exams next month. This got an excited response from the blonde knucklehead who was already screaming about how he would make Chunin easily. Jiraiya just smirked as he followed the excitable blonde to their usual training ground above the waterfall. Genjutsu and the first task. It had been 2 weeks since Naruto had returned from the mission to Wave, and Naruto was currently looking for his ever-perverted sensei at the various women-only hot springs around the village. And becoming more and more frustrated that he was not at any of his favorite places. Damn that Ero-senin, where the hell is he? I need him to train me or at least get a mission. I haven't done one since last week when I had to go catch fish with Team 8. And even then I had to stay on land after the first hour because Hinata kept passing out when I tried to take my shirt off to go for a swim to catch them. Naruto was brought out of his musings when he heard a perverted chuckle. Standing behind him was Jiraiya writing in his notepad. Obviously something Naruto had said had given him inspiration. The thought of being in one of his sensei's perverted books was not appealing to the blonde, and he quickly stole the notepad and ripped out the page before Jiraiya could respond. Stupid perverted sensei, you're not using me in your books. Now why didn't you show up for training today? I'm still having trouble cutting the leaf. I don't know what I am doing wrong, Naruto said. Damn it Gaki, you didn't need to tear the page out. And I was late because I was signing you up for the Chunin exams. Normally you would need a team of 3 to compete, but because of who I am, the Hokage allowed you in solo, the white-haired toad charmer proclaimed. Yeah, whatever, you probably just promised Gigi a signed copy of your next book before it comes out or something. Now help me with my wind manipulation, the blonde whined. Fine Gaki, okay. Well, I'm a Kaden and Doden affinity. Fuden is rare even in Suna right now. I can only think of 2 people who are wind users. And trust me, you don't want to have anything to do with Danzo. You should ask Asuma, although I would wait until after the Chunin exams. He will be busy getting his team ready, so just keep trying for now. How's the Rasengan going? Jiraiya said, curious how the rest of his young apprentice's training was progressing. Okay, I guess. I just can't focus on the rotation, power and stability. It's like I start to get it, then it just slips away. I can hold it for about 15 seconds, Naruto said, dejected that the final stage was proving much harder than the others. Well, you could just use shadow clones to complete the training, the Toad Sage said. No, I want to do this myself and beat your time in learning it. Wait, that's it, you're a genius, Erosenin, the blonde cheered. Thanks. I guess, the sage replied, unsure of what he said. If he was still refusing to use shadow clones in training, what else could he have said that would give the kid a breakthrough? Naruto created a single shadow clone next to him and it started to spin the chakra whilst the original focused on power and stability. Soon there was a perfectly formed Rasengan in the blonde's hand. Yes, I did it. See, Erosenin, instead of using the clones to train, I can split up the roles until I can do it perfectly, but it's good enough, the excitable ninja said proudly, letting the Rasengan disappear. Well done, Gaki. Let's go get some ramen to celebrate, the white-haired man said. Yeah, ramen, 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 the blonde yelled happily as he walked with his sensei to his favorite ramen store. Ichiraku ramen. Okay, Gaki, excellent work on the Rasengan. You have it so it's usable, although in hardly the conventional way, but still well done. Now for the rest of the week we are going to focus on Genjutsu, Jiraiya said. Why, Erosenin? I thought you told me I would never have any real ability at it because my chakra levels were so high, Naruto asked, curious as to why he would be focusing the last week before the Chunin exams on something he would never be able to do well. That's true, you have about as much talent for Genjutsu as my former teammate has in gambling. But at the same time you need to be able to recognize a high level one and dispel it. Otherwise the second you run into a Genjutsu user in the exam you will be about as useless as an academy student faced with the prospect of facing Tora hyped up on catnip, the white-haired man stated. Naruto paled at just the thought of Tora on catnip, and he was rather confident he could hold his own against most Chunin. Okay, I get it. So how do we do this? Kurenai-sensei showed me some basics, the blonde asked, still in fear of Tora the terrible hyped up on cat crack. Well, as you know, there are 2 ways. The first and easiest is to cause pain to yourself, which is fine if you're as sadistic as Anko. But in the highly likely event that you are not sexually aroused by blood, what you have to do is disrupt your chakra flow by performing the required hand sign and saying Kai. This stops your chakra flow, then bursts it out around you, dispelling the Genjutsu, the Toad Sage said. So when are we going to start? I mean, the exams are in just over a week, Naruto asked. Well, start tomorrow. I'm not good with Genjutsu, so I will have to get some help, Jiraiya answered. They ate happily. Well, happily until Jiraiya was given the bill and then went their separate ways. Naruto was just happy to be learning a new skill whilst the old pervert was distracted by 2 women heading towards his favorite researching area. The following day, training ground 2. Hey Erosenin, how are we going to learn this? I mean, you said you weren't good at Genjutsu either, but I don't see anyone else here, Naruto asked, curious to see how he would be training in his worst skill set. Jiraiya wasted no time and summoned what looked like 2 elderly toads. One with a gray beard and hair, whilst the other had curly black hair and was holding a rolling pin and was not looking happy. Jiraiya-chan, what did you call us for? I was in the middle of making centipede soup, the toad with the rolling pin said in a feminine voice, indicating that the toad was female. Now ma, I am sure Jiraiya-chan wouldn't have summoned us for nothing. Now what do you need, boy? The toad with gray hair asked. Yes, Fukusaku-sama, Shima-sama, this is Naruto Uzumaki and my new apprentice and toad summoner, Naruto. These are the 2 toad elders, Jiraiya introduced the 2. Nice to meet you, elder toads, Naruto greeted respectfully. Well, anyway, Fukusaku-sama, Shima-sama. I was wondering if you would help me teach the boy to detect and dispel Genjutsu, because if he can disrupt your jutsu he will be safe from almost all Genjutsu, Jiraiya said, hoping that the flattery of their skills would save him from Shima's rolling pin. Very well, we can help the boy, but next time you call us it better be for something serious or else, the old toad, Shima said, slowly patting the wooden object in her hand, getting small whimpers from the tall man. Naruto created 100 clones to disrupt the genjutsu that the elderly toads were about to cast, and by the end of the day he had only made a small progress. It had proved it was going to take a bit longer than Jiraiya previously thought. The week passed and Naruto had finally been able to dispel most of the illusions placed on him, and could detect them all. Naruto had discovered the genjutsu that he couldn't remove could be taken care of by channeling small amounts of Kyuubi's chakra, but still found it difficult to know how much he could control, as he didn't want to lose control. But he had discovered he could use it without side effects up until the yokai cloak formed around him and the negative emotions fed the fox's power. It was the day before the first task of the Chunin exams, and Naruto was currently amusing himself at the sight of what appeared to be a perfectly square rock with eye holes cut into it, following the young Jinchuriki around. Okay, Konohamaru, you can come out now. I mean seriously, a square rock, you can do better than that, the blonde said in amusement. Suddenly the rock exploded in a puff, revealing 3 children about 3 years younger than Naruto who were coughing from what appeared to be too much smoke powder. Ah, just what I would have expected from my rival boss, said the boy with a long scarf and brown spiky hair. Hi, I'm Moegi and I am the prettiest girl in the academy, said the girl with 2 pigtails. And I'm Udon and I like math, the boy with glasses and a running nose said. Boss, come play ninja with us, you haven't played with us in ages, the young Sarutobi said, eager to play with his friend and rival. Playing ninja? Naruto, you are a ninja? What kind of baka plays ninja when they are one? A new voice said. Oh hey Sakura. What's wrong with playing ninja? They're kids, and it's a good way to learn how to be a real ninja. Hey boss, is that your girlfriend? Udon asked, curious of the relationship he had with the pink-haired Kunoichi. Nah, I did like her when we were in the academy, but I grew out of it, Naruto said. That's good, that hair is like a neon sign. And that forehead looks like it needs 2 hentai it to protect it properly, Konohamaru said jokingly. Hey Konohamaru, we better run, Naruto said and got ready to chase after the young boy and the screeching banshee chasing after him in case he needed some medical attention to heal his ears when she caught him. Unfortunately for the young monkey, he ran into a boy wearing a black full body suit and hood. Hey, watch where you're going, punk, said the older boy, grabbing the younger child by the shirt and lifting him up to head height. Kankuro, just let him go, said a tall girl with 4 ponytails and blonde. No, I'm going to teach this punk a lesson. I would advise you put him down, said Naruto, seeing the Hokage's grandson was in trouble. Oh yeah, and what are you going to do about it? Said the boy, turning his head to glare at the blonde boy. Oh my god, you must be the worst looking girl I have ever seen, said Naruto in horror. Hey, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm a guy, said Kankuro, anger etched on his face. Then why the hell are you wearing all that makeup? Naruto choked out, causing a laugh from the girl. It's not makeup, it's war paint. Kami, how come nobody can see it's war paint? That's it, kid, you asked for this, said Kankuro, but before he could respond, Naruto had run forward and grabbed his arm, forcing him to wince in pain, dropping the honorable grandson. Konohamaru, I think you better head home. You don't need to see some cross-dresser make a fool of himself this close to the Chunin exams, Naruto said, not taking his eyes off the older boy or the girl as she readied her battle fan. But before she could act, a wave of killer intent froze both her and Kankuro. Behind them stood a boy about the same age as Naruto with red hair and black circles around his eyes, looking intently at Naruto. Gaara, Kankuro stammered in fear of his younger brother. Kankuro, you are a disgrace to Suna. I am sorry for my brother's actions. I am Subaku no Gaara. May I ask your name? The boy called Gaara asked. Naruto Uzumaki, the blonde responded evenly, carefully observing the red-haired boy as he released Kankuro's arm from his grip. A pleasure. Are you competing in the Chunin exams? The redhead asked. That I am. I take it by the fact you are here with your team that you are also completing, Naruto responded. I look forward to testing my existence against you, was Gaara's only response before turning to his team, Tamari, Kankuro, where leaving come, and he turned and left, followed by his team staying a good distance behind. The following day at the academy, Naruto arrived and headed to the 3rd floor. But when he arrived on the second floor, he saw a group of genin in front of a door with a genjutsu on it. He was about to walk around when he noticed Sasuke and yell at the two gate guards Azumo and Katetsu under Henge to drop the genjutsu. Naruto couldn't believe the stupidity of the last Uchiha to give away what was an obvious pretext to weed out the weaker candidates. Shaking his head, he moved on, ignoring the resulting tussle in which Rock Lee had intercepted a punch thrown at Sasuke, catching it easily. Team 7 caught up to Naruto as he was about to head up to level 3. Looks like they're letting everyone compete in this thing. If you're here, Dobi. This is a exam for the elites, weaklings like you should have just stayed at home, Sasuke sneered upon seeing the blonde. Hey, and here I was thinking the same about you, Tem. Wow, small world, said Naruto, slightly annoyed the Uchiha still considered him weak. Sakura was about to reply in defense of her beloved Sasuke-kun but was cut off by the arrival of Rock Lee. Sasuke Uchiha, you are this year's Rookie of the Year and considered a genius. I would like to challenge you, said Lee. Sasuke smirked in arrogance before responding, you know this yet you still challenge me? Yes I do, I need to test myself against a genius to prove you can beat a genius with hard work, the green-clad ninja said loudly. Sure, why not? It's not like you can beat me, Uchiha, Sasuke said, confident this freak couldn't beat him. I wouldn't do it, Tem bushy brows is incredibly tough. I don't think you can win. Hell, I'm not even sure anyone from our graduating class could beat him, Naruto said in warning. Naruto's warning was ignored though, and Sasuke charged Lee, which the green-clad ninja easily dodged and began what could only be described as one hell of an ass whooping on the poor Uchiha, much to the horror of the pink-haired harlot. Unfortunately, the horror was not quite over yet. Just as Lee was about to complete his final move, he was stopped by the arrival of the sensei of Team 9. Lee, what were you doing? I told you not to use that move, said the taller version of Lee. I'm sorry, Guy Sensei, I just wanted to prove hard work could beat a genius, said a downbeat Lee. Lee. Guy Sensei. Lee. Guy Sensei. Oh shit. Quick, look away before it's too late. But it was Naruto's warning didn't come in time to save Team 7 from a genjutsu that not even the Sharingan could break, the fabled demonic beach sunset jutsu. Team 7 just sat there unable to avert their eyes from the horror before them. When it was over, the group finally made their way upstairs into the exam room. When Naruto arrived, he noticed the rest of the rookie teams there, so decided to greet them. Hey guys, good to see you all made it, Naruto yelled, trying to ignore Ino and Sakura's arguments concerning what could only be considered the biggest brooder in Fire Country if not the world. Hey Naruto, you're here as well. How come? I thought you didn't have a squad. That's why you spent all that time with the other teams on missions, Choji asked. Yeah, my sensei Erosenin convinced Hokage Jiji to let me compete by myself, said Naruto, stunning the genin in hearing range because of his lack of respect for the Hokage. Troublesome, was all Shikamaru said. Well, if we need to fight someone, I know where I'm going. The Dobi doesn't even have a team to back him up, said Kiba. You should probably quieten down. You don't want to paint a target on your back, said a tall boy with silver hair and circular glasses that looked 2 or 3 years older than the rookie genin. Who are you? Said Naruto, wary of the new arrival. Oh, I'm sorry, my name is Kabuto, and seeing as you're a rookie genin, I assumed you could use some information on the exams. I myself have taken them 7 times, Kabuto finished. Wow, 7 times? You must really suck, said Kiba. Well, that or the exams could be a lot harder than they appear, the spectacle-wearing genin said. Whatever, me and Akamaru are going to the finals, isn't that right, boy? The Inuzuka said, getting a bark in agreement from the puppy in his jacket. Anyway, I have these info cards. They have information on all the teams and even the individual members, said Kabuto. Okay then, Rock Lee, said Sasuke. Sabaku no Gaara, said Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto, even though it's troublesome to ask, finished Shikamaru. Oh, you know their names well. That's not hard then, let's see. Rock Lee, here we go. It says here he has no skill in nin or genjutsu because he has a disease which has led to underdeveloped chakra coils. But his taijutsu is off the charts. Team members are Hyuga Neji and Tenten, and his sensei is Mighty Guy. He's done 42 D ranks and 35 C rank missions, Kabuto said before shuffling his cards. Okay, next is Subaku no Gaara. Well, this is a shock. I have really little on him. All I can tell you is he has done 12 D ranks, 52 C ranks and 1 B rank mission and has never been injured, the silver-haired ninja informed the Konoha rookies. This shocked several of the rookies at thought of going on all those missions and never picking up a single injury. Okay, now for Uzumaki Naruto. He was ranked bottom of his class in the academy, while his chakra and stamina is off the chart, with the only people in the village to rival his chakra levels are the Jiraiya of the Sannin and the Hokage himself. Genjutsu is non-existent, but Tai and ninjutsu are well above average. He was not given a genin squad and was instead taken on as the apprentice of Jiraiya. The Toad Sage and member of the Sannin has a wind affinity, but it doesn't have information on what jutsus he knows. Has completed 10D rank 12C1B and WoW 1A rank mission. This is impressive. I would suggest avoiding Uzumaki Naruto in this competition, the silver-haired genin said, noticing the proud look on the face of the blonde boy and the stunned look on the faces of those around him. Yeah, whatever, he probably just had a good team with him. There's no way Dobby could beat any of us, said Kiba. It would be unwise to underestimate any of your opponents, even ones from the new village. The Sound could prove difficult opponents, just as Kabuto finished. A member of a Sound team with large gauntlets on each arm who had heard him jumped forward and attacked the silver-haired ninja, but he was able to dodge seconds later, though his glasses cracked from an unknown force. He pushes air out from the gauntlets on his arms. If you were to break the gauntlets, his attacks would become useless, thought Naruto, observing the attack and its effectiveness. Alright maggots, sit down, it's time for the first exam, came a voice as a large man with scars all over his face walked in and stood behind the desk. My name is Ibiki Morino, and I will be the proctor for the first test. You will have 1 hour to answer the 10 questions. You will not be given the final question until the final 10 minutes. If you are caught cheating, you and your team will be disqualified. That said, you can use whatever jutsu or abilities you want to get the answers. You begin now. He finished and sat down and smirked at the looks of horror on the genin's face when they saw the questions. These questions are far too difficult for a genin. Hell, I doubt most jonin could answer them. That could only mean that they want us to cheat. Yes, there are definitely several people placed in here who were given the answers. But how do I get them? Oh, I know, Naruto thought as he silently summoned a small toad and silently gave him orders before it puffed into smoke. 20 minutes later, the toad returned, handed Naruto the answers and again disappeared. Naruto filled out the answers, then sat back and waited for the test to be over. Finally, it came time for the last question, which once again had a new set of rules. So he wants to test if we have the guts to stick to the mission. A very clever test. I'm glad Erosenin gave me those books on psychology, otherwise I may not have realized, the blonde thought as he smirked. So Blondie, you look confident. You know if you get the question wrong you can never retake the test, Ibiki said, trying to intimidate Naruto. That's fine, Ibiki-san, I don't need to be a chunin for my dream to come true. It would be nice to get better missions, but I think I will risk it, thanks, Naruto said with a small smirk indicating that he had figured out the test. Damn, the kid figured it out. Oh well, I don't think I will get any more now. Well, anyone else? Okay, now the rest of you, pass. The scared man said, and was about to continue when a black blur came crashing through the window, which turned out to be a woman with dark purple hair in a ponytail and looked like a pineapple, had on an open trench coat and see-through mesh top, making it obvious she did not wear a bra over her ample C-cup breasts. Behind her there was a sign that read Anko Mitarashi sexy and single proctor for the second exam. The Forest and the Snakes. In the exam room, Naruto was both stunned and amused by the rival of the women he so affectionately called the crazy snake lady. It was a look of shock shared by most of the genin. There were a few exceptions. Gaara's face held no expression, whilst Kiba, Konkuro and several others had perverted grins focused on the sexy and single Anko Mitarashi. Well, fuck, Ibiki, 34 teams left. You must be getting soft. Oh well, once I'm finished with them there will be less than half of these numbers. Okay, you little gakis, meet me at training ground 44 in an hour. And if one member on your team is late your whole team fails. And with that, Anko left through the same broken window she came in, leaving the still stunned genin to register what just happened. Well, damn, a random genin stated, finally breaking everyone out of their stunned state. Training ground 44, the Forest of Death. All right, you little pieces of shit. Welcome to my home away from home, training ground 44, better known as the Forest of Death, Anko pronounced loudly so everyone could hear her. Naruto, however, just looked off with a bored expression, unimpressed with her attempts to intimidate the competitors. Anko saw the blonde wasn't affected by her little speech and deciding to make an example out of him took out a kunai and threw it at the blonde who was caught unawares as it sliced his cheek. Then she used a shunshin to appear behind him with another kunai to his neck. So you're not intimidated by the forest, hey? Well, that's fine, but you won't have that pervert with you to scare the animals off this time, Anko said as she pressed her ample chest into his back and seductively licked the blood off his cheek. Naruto tried to remain calm but found it difficult. Even if he knew that Anko was just trying to scare him and the others, she was still a scary kunoichi. Then he also noticed the looks of jealousy some of the males were giving him and couldn't help but smirk. Yes, but Anko-chan, I contain a beast far more terrifying than anything that is found in the forest and they know it, Naruto whispered into the sadistic kunoichi's ear. Anko was about to respond when they both felt a presence right behind them and quickly responded only to find a Kusa ninja holding out her hand. I'm sorry, Proctor-san, I was simply returning your kunai, the Kusa ninja said before returning to her squad. You know, crazy snake lady, I think she might even be more creepy than you, Naruto said, suppressing a shiver. Hey, I'll have you know I can be far more scary, Anko said in mock hurt. Naruto arrived at gate 27 after signing his waiver forms. Upon looking at the neighboring gates, he found to his left were a team from AIM who were all rather tall and lanky, and to his left he found a team from Iwa who were looking at him with hatred and anger. Naruto felt uneasy as he recalled what Jiraiya had said about Iwa ninja. Flashback. Kid in the Chunin exams and out in the field, a ninja might have to kill at any moment for a mission or to save a comrade. It's a sad fact about our life, but it's true. And there will be times that you are forced to kill to defend yourself. This is also important. So what I did is I went to the pet store in town and found the cutest bunny I could find. I swear this thing has like a permanent puppy eyes jutsu on it. Here, look at it. Jiraiya finished pulling what could only be described as the definition of adorable. Oh my god, that thing is cute. I want to take it home and charge people to see it, said Naruto. Okay, Naruto. Yeah, I want you to kill it. What? But it's just too cute. Come on, Erosenin, people would throw out fluffy kittens living in shoe for that thing. And have you seen kittens living in a shoe, Erosenin? They're adorable. How am I supposed to kill it? Naruto complained. You have to, because if you can kill this bunny you can kill anything. Do you think I want it to go? Hell no, the cute sob got me laid 3 times since I brought it, and that was only yesterday, Jiraiya said in his tone serious to emphasize what he needed the blonde to do before turning perverted. Fine, give me the bunny, and with that Naruto brought his blade up and ended the bunny's life. It's done now. Why was this so important that I couldn't get a first kill like every other normal ninja? The blonde asked. Because there will be some ninja who will target you in particular, especially in this exam. You will be the one genin without a team and that will make you a target, and I want you to be able to kill without the worry of it being your first kill, Jiraiya said seriously. Okay, I get it, Erosenin, I just wish I didn't have to kill such a cute animal. Couldn't you have used Tora? Although now I think about it, killing that demonic cat wouldn't have been hard at all, Naruto said, fantasizing about killing the bane of all genin. There's one more thing, Naruto. I want you to be extra careful of the teams from Iwa. They don't like Konoha at all, and to make matters worse, you happen to look a lot like the 4th Hokage, who was the main reason Iwa lost so many men in the 3rd Great Shinobi War. I want you to promise me that you will do what it takes to defend yourself and won't hesitate to kill if needed. The Toad Sage finished, giving Naruto a serious look to prevent him from arguing. Okay, Erosenin, I will make sure I will defend myself and whatever is necessary to defend myself or others, the blonde finished and the pair went back to training. Flashback end. Now I see why Erosenin warned me against the teams from Iwa. They really looks like they really hate me, Naruto thought as the buzzer rang, and he quickly made several clones and sent them in different directions around him as he headed deeper into the forest. Naruto headed through the tree tops at an average speed till a clone dispersed and his memories came back of the Iwa team attack. Naruto decided to keep moving and wait till they caught up. Several minutes passed as Naruto ran before he felt chakra signature and movement behind him. Turning around, he saw the 3 Iwa genin glaring at him. The team was comprised of a tall boy around the height of Shino, a girl slightly taller than Naruto with 2 pigtails on either side of her head, and a short stocky boy even shorter than Naruto but wider than Choji. All 3 of them had the same dark brown hair and hazel eyes. Well, this is a bit sooner than I predicted, but I guess they would catch up eventually. I mean, I wasn't exactly moving fast. So how do you guys want to do this? Do you want to give me your scroll or do you want to lose in a highly embarrassing display of my strength? Said the blonde, trying to intimidate the Iowa genin, hoping he wouldn't actually have to fight them. Whatever, you're alone and you look just like the Yellow Flash. Killing you will be our revenge for all the people he killed in the last war, the taller boy said. Well, I really didn't want to have to do this, but fine, said Naruto as he got into the Toad-style taijutsu stance. Doden rock armor, said the taller boy, who became covered in thick rock right up to his head whilst the shorter was still performing hand signs. Doden earth spears, he shouted. Pillars of rock shot up out of the ground and flew at the blonde, who quickly made a shadow clone to throw him out of the way before he was impaled like the clone. Well, you have some nice Doden jutsu, but you're going to need more than that, Naruto taunted, still hoping he didn't have to take the lives of the team. Shut up, you blonde punk, we're going to kill you, and there is nobody here to save you, you're all alone, the shorter boy said. Fine, but you asked for this, Naruto said, creating 6 shadow clones before charging the Iowa team. The clones in Naruto paired up 2 for each, with Naruto and a clone taking the taller of the boys on the team. The rock armor had made the Iowa genin slow, but his defense proved impenetrable. Even with all of his strength, Naruto failed to make more than a couple of cracks in the armor. Even despite all hits landing on vital spots, the tall genin didn't seem phased. Damn, I can't damage him at all. What am I supposed to do? I have to think of something quick because I do not want to get hit with one of those punches. I need to create enough force to break through that armor. Yes, I got it. Jumping back while his clone continued to cause a distraction, Naruto made another shadow clone and threw a kunai while the clone finished the hand signs for the jutsu, Fuden Gale Palm. A compressed pocket of air shot out from the clone's hand and caught the kunai, more than quadrupling the speed and power behind the kunai. The taller Iowa genin didn't see the kunai till it was too late, and it passed through his rock armor over his heart like it wasn't even there. Brother! The smaller of the boys yelled while the girl looked on, shocked, having just dispatched the clones fighting her and her shorter team member. Well, 1 down, 2 to go, Naruto said, his voice emotionless as he turned to face the remaining rock ninja holding his hand. Naruto and the clone beside him started to form a Rasengan while the 2 other ninja were unaware of the threat coming from behind them. The shorter of the 2 began realizing that they may just have been in over their head. And at seeing a jutsu feared all over Earth country, began sweating as Naruto began slowly moving towards them, picking up speed as he went with each tree he jumped from. Run, I will hold him off, the boy yelled to his female teammate as he pushed up to intercept the blonde. But she was frozen in place with fear of the blonde who had killed her teammates so easily, and she could only watch as Naruto drove a Rasengan through the chest of her other male companion. She was about to scream when she felt pain rush up through her. Looking behind her, she saw a Naruto clone had just forced a kunai into her back over her heart. He looks like he is in such pain. He wasn't the enemy we forced him to kill. The final thoughts of the girl as she faded into death as she looked into the eyes of her killer. Please let them have a Earth Scroll. I do not want to have to fight another team, Naruto begged to nobody as he searched the bodies, finding his objective before sealing the scroll into another with a blood seal where he stored his heaven scroll. Oh Kami, thank you, I can head towards the tower without having to be forced to fight another team, the blonde thought as he kicked off towards the tower. 10 minutes later and the tower had just come into view. Much to the relief of the blonde, suddenly a massive chakra spike caught Naruto's attention. That's not a genin's chakra, that level rivals my own and I have Kyuubi. And it definitely wasn't demonic. What could it be? What if it's with one of the rookie teams? Damn it. What do? I have to check it out. I still have 4 days to get here anyway. And Naruto pushed off from the branch. He stopped in the direction of the disturbance. Naruto had just slowed down upon sensing 2 chakra levels way above genin level and decided to suppress his own and creep closer. Thankful the training in genjutsu taught him how to suppress his chakra levels to aid in the release. Sneaking close enough to hear what was going on whilst remaining hidden from sight, Naruto discovered that one of the voices was Anko and she sounded scared and angry. Ah, Anko-chan, you seem to be doing well. The last time I saw you I had just marked you. Oh, how time flies, the second voice sneered. Orochimaru, what are you doing here? Anko spat, trying to contain her fear. Oh, I was just admiring the talent of this year's genin, and I was so impressed I choose to give one of them a gift, Orochimaru swooned. You didn't, Anko stammered. Oh, but I did. I think Sasuke-kun will make a fine apprentice, even better than you were. That's if he survives, of course, but I think his will to live is strong and so is his hatred. Orochimaru chuckled at the expression on his former pupil's face. Now Anko-chan, don't worry yourself, if you're lucky I may even come back for you. Go to hell. Shadow sneak hands, Anko yelled as several snakes shot forward. My Anko-chan, I think you're forgetting who taught you that jutsu. It is done like this, he said, and snakes shot out from Orochimaru hands heading for Anko, who appeared frozen in place. Naruto acted on instinct, performing the gale palm and knocking the snakes off course. My, what do we have here if it isn't a little leaf genin? You shouldn't stick your nose in where it doesn't belong, boy. I am simply having a conversation with my former pupil, the snake said, leaking out killer intent. Naruto saw the look on Anko's face. She was frozen in fear. Naruto knew he had to do something or else she was dead. He had no other choice. He had to use the yokai cloak. Channeling the fox's yokai, Orochimaru was shocked to see the boy be able to draw out this much. This boy must be the Kyuubi brat. This complicates things. I can't kill him or the Akatsuki will be after me. Well, let's see what this boy can do. Get away from her, Naruto said, his voice sounding demonic. Get away from her now. Naruto kicked off from the tree at incredible speeds and his fist caught Orochimaru in the jaw, sending him flying. Naruto began to fall from the tree, but a hand of red yokai extended from the cloak and pulled him up to a level surface, but where the hand had grabbed the tree was burned and blackened. You okay, crazy snake lady? You're not hurt, are ya? Naruto asked, concern showing despite the presence of the demon's chakra. Yeah, I'm fine. Anko managed to stutter out, still frozen but now not in fear but in awe of the young genin's ability. Oh, this boy, to think he has such control over Kyuubi at this young age. Oh, he will become very useful in dealing with the Akatsuki, but what if he becomes a threat to me? No, I will deal with it when it comes, not now. But I have to hit him with a 5-element seal and get out of here before the Hokage comes to investigate, Orochimaru thought while charging the seals on his fingers and jumping forward. The blonde watched as Orochimaru charged, waiting for him, conscious thought beginning to slip and his bloodlust towards the snake began taking over, and he didn't notice the seals Orochimaru had formed. Fortunately, Anko had. Just as he was about to mark the boy, Anko reacted, throwing a kunai piercing the snake's hand. Can't have me owing you now, Gaki, Anko said, relieved she was able to prevent her former sensei from having his way. Naruto, realizing he couldn't control the fox cloak any longer, released it in a huff. Thanks for that, snake lady. Now how about we get this snake? I still have a few tricks up my sleeve, the blonde said, creating a small army of shadow clones. The clones attacked the now injured Orochimaru, but despite his injured state was able to easily dispatch them as if they were nothing but a nuisance. Anko summoned a small snake and began poisoning her kunai and throwing them, which Orochimaru noticed, causing him to chuckle. Ku, my dear Anko, do you really think poisons will work against me? I am immune to all snake-related poisons. I thought you would have guessed that, he finished with a smirk. Damn it, I am running out of ideas fast. What about you? Naruto asked as he tossed another kunai at the closet pedophile. I have a few, but I don't know how well they will work. He was one of the legendary Sannin after all, Anko replied. Yeah, but we still have to try. I'm sure Gigi would have felt my chakra when I was using the fox, and has probably sent someone to investigate by now, so we don't need to hold out much longer, Naruto responded, throwing another kunai only to have it blocked by the aggravated snake Sannin. Orochimaru was fed up and started doing in signs. Footing, great breakthrough, he yelled as he took a deep breath in and spewed out a torrent of air, removing branches and uprooting some of the smaller trees as it headed straight towards the unlikely partners. Unable to escape the jutsu, they both tried to cling on to the ground with chakra, but the wind had such force behind it neither Naruto nor Anko stood a chance. Quickly getting to his feet, Naruto saw Anko had a far harder trip and was suffering from at least a broken arm and was struggling to stand. Naruto was about to head over to help her when Orochimaru appeared behind him and gave him a kick to the side, sending him careening into a tree, knocking the wind out of him as he casually walked towards the snake mistress without a care in the world. The snake stood over the purple-headed Kunoichi, who was still trying to stand, and summoned several snakes to hold her down as he do a kunai to finish her. Kuku, look at you now, Anko-chan. Sasuke-kun will make a much better apprentice than you ever were. He was broken out of his musings as he had a kunai come flying towards him at inhumane speeds. Turning, he saw Naruto and a clone huffing from exhaustion. The legendary snake Sanin casually caught the kunai in the hand he was holding his own and flung them at the blonde too fast for him to react. Both kunai hit in the leg to incapacitate but not kill, but the snake was shocked when both turned into smoke, indicating a shadow clone. Then he felt a large chakra pulse from just above him. Looking up, Orochimaru didn't have time to dodge and was slammed in the face with a Rasengan, sending the snake flying and lying in a crumpled heap dead. Naruto relaxed and went to help Anko up, but when he got there he saw a look of sheer horror on her face. Whirling around, he saw a pair of hands protruding from Orochimaru's mouth, and just like a snake shedding his skin, Orochimaru stood there with no signs of battle. Kukuku, well, it's been fun. I am glad to say you amused me in the battle. I look forward to seeing how you progress, Naruto-kun, but sadly I can't stay. It is becoming far too crowded. And just like that, the snake dissolved into the ground without a trace. Naruto kept his guard up, expecting another attack, but when he saw 4 new people in the trees above, he realized why Orochimaru had fled. The Sandaime Hokage arrived in the clearing to see Naruto standing defensively, standing over an unconscious snake mistress, but soon relaxed when he saw the Hokage. Naruto, what happened here? I felt a massive amount of Kyuubi's chakra, Hiruzen said urgently. Well, Gigi, about 40 minutes ago I felt a massive chakra spike in the forest that wasn't from a genin and it wasn't demonic. So I went to check it out. On my way there I found Anko-san here in conversation with Orochimaru of the Sannin. Hiruzen visibly paled at this, then the blonde continued. I had noticed Anko was frozen and needed help, but I am obviously no match for the snake Tem. I knew I needed help, but I didn't know how to send for it with the message reaching you in time for it to make a difference. So I channeled as much of the Kyuubi's chakra I could until the one-tailed cloak formed, and I acted quickly, knocking Orochi Tem away from Anko. Unfortunately I cannot hold that form for more than 2 minutes at my current strength, Naruto sighed. Afterwards I dropped the cloak and with help from Anko was able to hold him off until you arrived, Gigi, Naruto said, swaying from exhaustion. I see. Do you have both scrolls to complete the test? The Hokage asked. Yeah, I got my second off some Iowa ninja who seemed to really hate me for looking like the 4th Hokage, Naruto said with a somber expression on his face. Hiruzen winced at the thought of Iowa finding out about Naruto's heritage, while the Anbu present were just realizing how much the boy did in fact look exactly like Minato Namikaze. Naruto, what happened to the Iowa team? The Hokage asked. Naruto looked down as if ashamed. I killed them. They didn't give me a choice. I gave them a chance to leave and they refused to take it and attacked, stating killing me was be their revenge, Naruto said sadly. The aged Hokage internally sighed in relief that the genin were dead, even though he didn't like that the young boy had to kill. He was glad the risk of Iowa finding out who Naruto really was were much smaller now. Well, you better make it to the tower quickly so you can have a proper rest. I will take Anko-chan to the hospital, the Hokage said as he and his Anbu vanished in a shunshin. Less than 30 minutes later Naruto arrived at the tower, deciding he had to open them. Now he discovered when the smoke cleared from the scroll that Iruka was standing there looking upon the boy with pride. Well done, Naruto, you are actually the second team here after a team from Suna. You look like hell, by the way. Naruto, what happened to you out there? Iruka said in interest. It's a long story, Iruka-sensei, let's go in and I will tell you all about it, said the blonde as they made their way into the tower. Naruto was looking forward to a nice long rest before the next exam.